Guys, the game hasn't even started and this man already wanted to beat me. But thanks to my unmatched biceps, I was able to fight him off successfully. And with that, he immediately regained consciousness and started praying, as he's now realizing that he's playing against the GOAT, the feeder master of Jamaica, raheemglaveschess himself. And the last time me and Akeem played, he was absolutely beaten to sickness. The game was so brutal that the game is nowhere to be found on his channel. But at the same time here, he's trying to bounce back in this match. And I play now the anti-preparation move, knight to e7, even sent that child running. And now Akeem plays this move, bishop to d3. Look into the sky like Hikaru Nakamura and now put this pawn on e5. Takes. And what my plan is for this game is to simply keep the pieces on the board. This is indeed a blitz match. So by me keeping the pieces on the board, trying to make this as complex as possible and taking Akeem out of familiar territory, I am going to have some chances there. So, you know, castle is king and I play in this move now, pawn to g6. And here, again, I just want to keep pieces on the board, guys. But Akeem's next move sends me into depression, right? I have went through this much stress to keep pieces, you know, I just want to play some chess. And there Akeem plays this move, bishop to c4. And as you can see on my face here, I cannot believe it, guys. Akeem with a straight face offers a queen trade with a completely symmetrical position. And you know, Akeem is actually up half a point going into this round. So if he manages to draw this game, it's going to be absolutely in his favor. So I take some time here and I know rinse this bishop into e6, offering this bishop trade, which he immediately accepts, by the way, damaging my pawn structure, and plays this move q to e2. Now this double pawn, it's actually controlling some really good squares in the center of the board. So I didn't mind it, but at the same time, I'm trying to get my king out of the center, guys. So I like played bishop to g7, and I'm going to be castling my king on the next move. But Akeem right now is a very principled player. So he now goes q to c4, stopping the immediate castles, forcing my queen to go to this passive square on c8. And this is where the pressure, you know, I wouldn't even say it started to increase here, but, you know, things are not looking so good for the black pieces. You know, finishes his development. And I castled my king to safety. Unfortunately, it is still on the same diagonal as this king. So he brought his rook into the game. And I now placed my king to a completely safe square on h7. Now, in the game, I'm like, what is happening with this poor rook on a8? Akeem's rook is controlling a whole d file, while my rook is here sitting doing nothing. He now played knight to e2. This pawn on e6 is again like just controlling some nice squares. So he's now stopping my pieces from getting into his half of the board. I played a6. He played a4. And this is where again, like my rook is in prison, guys. I'm like, nah, lash out. So I now played pawn to b5. He took, I took. And if he recaptured back with queen takes b5, I would have regained my pawn on b2. With rook to b8. So, you know, squeezes the queen into my half of the board, guys. This queen is in my territory, not paying rent. So I returned the favor, guys. I'm like, all right, your queen is in my half. I then placed my rook in his half. And he immediately played knight to c3, guys. I'm like, crap. How is he putting, like, I just placed my rook on his half. And it immediately got kicked. Now, in the game, I was looking at rook to c4. A double rook sacrifice, guys, which is actually taking on c3. And again, yes, guys, sacrificing the rook on f3 as well. And what I had planned was this absolutely, you know, dangerous attack to the average eyes. But, you know, for Akeem, he saw through all of this and played knight to c3. In this moment, I was really considering rook to c4, which is the reason why I am burning so much time, guys. Like, I was gonna sack both rooks, but I'm like, Raheem, you're watching, or you're basically seeing too many Gotham reels. Keep it simple. And this is where the pressure started to kick into Akeem, as my opponents normally in these scenarios will buckle under pressure. As you can see, he's now pushing back the chair. It's feeling really uncomfortable. Knees will start to buckle. As you can see, even right now, Akeem is a little uncomfortable in his chair. And I am now putting my hand over the rook to make this crucial decision. And he holds his knees into place as they're currently buckling, as I'm telling you guys, under pressure. And the final move I played was rook to a5, and then he regained confidence playing this move pawn to b4, forcing my rook all the way back, and then he finally took this pawn on the b5 square. So he's now up a pawn. I immediately played my rook to b8, putting some pressure on this knight on the file. If this knight moves, then I'm going to win back the pawn on b4. So I know place the pieces towards that side to start lashing out on this king side if I get the chance, guys. So his knight can't come back into the defense, and his queen can't come back into the defense because it's not guarding this knight. So I am already prepared to do crazy stuff. So he now goes c4, clamping down his pieces, and then I sacrificed my rook on f3, guys. And after pawn takes, remember, his queen can't get back into the defense. So I'm trying my best to actually lash out here with knight to g6 after queen to f8. Just the same plans I've been telling you guys from before. But unfortunately, I missed Akeem's next move, which completely, again, put me into more depression, which is knight to a7. This man is forking a knight, guys, with a knight. Can you tell me about skill? Now, if I take his knight, then he's going to be taking my knight on e7, removing the one piece that is key for the attack. So I know, again, with clenched palms, plays queen to e8 and tries my best to actually hold on to this knight. I need to swing these pieces towards the king side, guys, or I have nothing. You know, takes on c6, knight takes c6, and this is where things get absolutely, again, helpless for the black pieces. Now, here it's very straightforward. You know, kicks my knight back. My knight now goes to a very passive square on e7, and this is where confidence again grows in chess, guys, because I don't like to backtrack my pieces. So I now swing my knight to g6 after he took on c7, and this is where again madness started to occur. He now joins with another player in this half of the board. The rook now helps the queen that was feeling a little lonely in the attack, and now my bishop on g7 that has been doing nothing since this game has started. And I was now forced to play q to g8, rook takes g7, teaching you guys how to actually sacrifice the rook. And now knight to h4 here, my last attempt to get this piece involved into the game and checkmate this guy. Now, after rook to a7, king to g6, then queen to e8, I was forced to pack up this board and resign. I even offered a handshake, and this man was busy, again, showing that he's killing the goat, guys. But at the same time, I will have my revenge. But thanks again for watching, guys. I was even forced to pack up that board in shame. But the score is currently 1-1, and we're going to see what happens in our next battle. Thanks again for watching, and see you again another time. Like, share, and subscribe.